Lately, I don't link my bank account to anything, and I still know how much I have left to spend in this pay period and exactly how much I've spent so far. And today I want to share with you exactly how to do that in a simple way. We all know what it's like to use the common apps that make you categorize every expense, or they try to do it for you. How much have I spent so far on spaghetti this month? How much do I have left to spend on wrenches? There's 20 different categories. You have to reconcile every one of them, and you have to do it on a monthly basis instead of a pay period basis. If you don't keep up, you get behind, and all of a sudden the whole system's out the window. There's a much simpler way, and it doesn't have to rely on cash. Now, if you're one of the cash stuffing people, you're my people. This is something that I really believe in, that I did myself for a long time. And what I mean by that is you actually have envelopes that you take real cash and put in there. And it might be one envelope that says, this is how much I have left. It might be multiple because you've got different categories, and you force yourself to only spend cash over a given time frame. That is so useful, and it's probably one of the most disciplined and best ways to do it. But it's tough, especially these days where so many transactions happen online, and it can require a lot of extra work to actually make that work for you. If you're doing it, that's great. Keep doing it. But if you're like me and you've transitioned to more of an electronic system, there's a way to do both. And I'm going to give you 3 different versions of complexity that help you to accomplish that today. Now, all 3 of the things that we're going to cover require something. That is, that you set a specific limit for your discretionary spending, meaning your food, gas, and entertainment all combined for a given pay period. You're saying, this is the amount that fits into my long-term plan. If I spend this, it's fine. If I go over it, it's a problem. If I come in under, I'm going to save a little extra. So let's start with the first method. This is by far the least complex and requires almost no effort on your part. That is, you get one credit card that you use for only discretionary spending, food, gas, and entertainment, and you use it for all of your discretionary spending. So naturally, that one balance will line up perfectly with where you are compared to the number that you want to hit. Now, this can work great, especially if you want to use a card for your spending where you get points or rewards for that card. But I have to say, if you're somebody that has a lot of debt, if you're somebody that will go over and spend more, and it's still not a habit for you to try and control that spending, then don't use it. It's just too much of a gateway. There's another way that we're going to describe in just a moment that'll allow you to do this with a debit card and not having to open up another credit card. But this works really well for somebody that has all of their debt already paid off. They have a free and clear credit card, and they can be disciplined enough to use that for their discretionary expenses and pay it off every single pay period. So if you decide to use that method, I want to show you how you can track this and still see how much you have left to spend in the pay period very clearly. I'll put up an image from a phone right here on the screen so that you can see what I'm looking at. Today, we're going to use Beatrice as our example. We talked about her a couple weeks back in a video. Beatrice gives herself exactly $425 per pay period every 2 weeks to spend on food, gas, and entertainment. And you can see here that that's what Beatrice has left. Now, you see in the app that Beatrice has 8 days left in the pay period. She still hasn't spent any money. I don't know how she did that, but she did. So she has $53.13 per day for the next 8 days left to spend. Now, say Beatrice checks her balance online and she has spent some money. Say she spent $200 so far. You can see this auto calculates that she has $225 left to spend. And if we scroll down, you can see with 8 days left, she has $28.13 per day in the pay period left to spend. It gives her a really good idea of the pace she needs to stay on. Now let's go to method 2. Let's say that Beatrice likes this method, but she also wants to look back and say, what were my big expenses during that pay period? I'm not going to categorize everything, but I want to see what it was that either put me over my limit or got me up to my limit. So we're going to put in a couple of line items for Beatrice. Let's say Beatrice got some new pants, and for that, she spent $50. And Beatrice also went to the movies, and she spent $50 there. Now, you can see this is kind of a hybrid approach because Beatrice has already spent $200. That's what she can see on her balance. It's still perfectly lined up, just like it was in the first approach. But now she can see the big items that she got, the pants and the movies, and she can see that everything else is a placeholder for all the other little things that she spent money on. And in this way, Beatrice is tracking what was important, the big expenses, but she doesn't have to track every single little item, and she still gets this summary at the bottom. She still has the same amount left to spend, $225, and she still has $28.13 per day to spend for the rest of the pay period. So you can already see how other budgeting apps kind of punish you for getting behind because you have to go in and categorize everything. But in this case, she has that placeholder for everything else, so she doesn't need to track every tiny expense, just the big ones. Now let's get into the third method, and this is for people that want to use a debit card or don't want to have that single card that they use for all of their discretionary spending. So in this case, you can see Beatrice is tracking everything that she's spending. In this case, she's got $50 for pants, $50 for movies. It totals to $100, and you can see the math is done for her. There's still $325 left to spend. And if she scrolls down, she can see that equates to $40.63 per day for the next 8 days that she can spend for the rest of the pay period. Now, this requires that Beatrice goes in and actually adds every expense as she goes. She goes to the grocery store, she gets some mints, she's going to add that. It's $2.50. She stops at 7-Eleven. She gets a Mountain Dew. She's going to put that in. It's $3. And every expense will be tracked. She'll still get that summary at the bottom. She'll still know what she has left to spend and the pace that she needs to stay on. And in this way, this is exactly like the cash stuffing method where you've got this envelope of cash, but instead you've got a digital tracker that's helping you to figure out exactly what you have left. And you don't need to go in and count the money every time. Now you're probably thinking, isn't this a little bit intense? Isn't there a lot of friction here? And the answer is yeah, but the friction only aligns with the amount of spending that you're doing. And being very straight with you, this third method is the one that I still use most often. Even though I have one card that I use for all my discretionary expenses and I can check the balance easily, it helps me personally when it comes to my own spending to stay on track if I know I've got to have that little point of friction where every expense is one I'm going to have to enter into the app. And I do it. I'll go to the grocery store. It was $30. I'm going to, on the way out, put $30 right into the app. If I'm thinking it's 7 at night, I'm hungry, I don't see much food around, maybe I'm going to order food, I know I'm going to have to put that in the app. And some nights that helps me to make the call that I'm going to find something in the freezer, I'm going to thaw it out, and I'm going to cook tonight no matter what, just because I don't want to have to do that. It's that reminder, especially if you're somebody that can spend a little recklessly, that I have to go in and I have to record this. And if you make that a habit, it can really help to develop more discipline or awareness around your spending. But whichever method you choose, you can see how using a method like this can help you to get your arms around that one number that you need to hit for your food, gas, and entertainment for a pay period that fits into your larger budget and fits into your goals, therefore helping you to pay off debt or to save to the amount that you want. You obviously don't need an app for this. You can use a spreadsheet. You can use a pen and paper. But if you stay up to date, then you don't need to do the reconciliation with an app that syncs with your bank. This is never going to be a perfect record of your banking transactions, and it's not meant to be. You have that online. This is more about developing the right habits for yourself and kind of a carefree way of tracking that doesn't force the categorization on you. And if you'd like to use this app, it's actually coming out soon. All you need to do is go to sheetkeeper.io to get on the wait list. I'll leave a link in the description. It's going to be free for the first month. It's only going to cost $2 on a monthly basis to use this, as well as the entire spreadsheet model that it comes with, all in one place linked together that you can use on your computer and your phone. And of course, you can cancel anytime. If you like the idea, but you don't want to use the app, just by signing up for the waitlist, I'm going to give you a free spreadsheet you can use to start modeling like this on your own right in Google Sheets. And if you like content like this, please subscribe. I'm a new channel. I'd love to be able to bring you these types of ideas on a weekly basis going forward. And leave something in the comments. Tell me, is this working for you? What are you doing that is working for you? And if you try out the app, I'd love to read your feedback. We can work on this together, and through that collaboration, we can make this an even better tool. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.